How's the audio now? Can everybody hear my audio? Give me an idea. Type in the comments if you can hear me. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Is that working now, guys? Give me a check. We'll see if this is working. Testing 1 2 3. It's a new year. We got a new camera. Oh, that's better. Okay. Yeah, I think the issue is on our full screen mode. It's not working on the audio, so we'll get that fixed. But what I was going to say is Happy New Year, everybody. Super excited for you to be with me. I am really looking forward to 2021. I think it's going to be a transformational year, both for me personally and professionally. I think it's going to be a transformational year for our members that are with us, and a lot of great stuff that we have in store to help them. I apologize earlier. I think that when I was on a full screen camera, it wasn't working with the audio, so we're going to get that fixed because we got a brand new camera. I hope you like it and can see me on that. So we're excited. We're excited for this new year. But today I'm going to be talking about 10 principles of personal finance that literally changed my life. Looking back, every time you look back over the last year and you reflect on it and you look to future years and you look back even further and say, what are some things that made some big differences? And I can tell you there's a few pivotal changes, and they don't have to be major changes, but a few small changes over time can make a massive difference. It's like a snowball rolling down the hill. It can just get bigger and bigger. And that works for you in your advantage and in your disadvantage. If you go the wrong direction, it can make things so much worse. And if you go the right direction, it can make things better, which is one of my 10 principles that we're going to talk about. So I'm not going to spill the beans quite yet. But so excited for you to be with us today. What you're going to learn by the end of today, before you leave today, I'm going to talk about ideas you can put into practice today, right now. I'm going to talk about mental shifts that can make the difference in your success. I'm going to talk about the importance of time in investing, how important that is, how the right strategy is the key to success. And an extra bonus, I'm going to do 11 rather than just 10 because, heck, it's a new year. So I'm excited about that. So we're going to be giving you not just 10, but 11. What you're going to get today. So I've got a free giveaway I like to do most days. We do something. And today I've got a free ebook about finance. So stick around to the end and I'll give you a link on where you can get that free book. You can link to download at the end of this live cast for that free book about finance that can be really helpful, especially if you're interested in real estate investing, which most of you are if you're on this channel. This show's for entertainment purposes, and before making financial moves, consult real estate professional, attorney, CPA, other professionals, specific subject matters. Every situation is different. There's not a one-size-fits-all. DHM may receive payments on the show from sponsors, guests in the form of books, giveaways, items, discounts, or other remunerations. As with anything in life, results come from education, following a system, hard work, and a determination to follow through until the end. Number 4 is my favorite. All right, guys, welcome. Appreciate you being with me. I would love to get to know you and where you're at. So please put your first name and the city and state you're investing. Type that in the chat. If you're here with the live, type it in the live chat, or you can type it into the comments as we are getting ready, as we're going here, because I'd love to personalize some of these things. And if you're watching this as a recording, you can join us live. It's every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're doing this live cast every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So next Tuesday, mark it in your calendar and come check us out because we do this every single Tuesday. We also are doing a shirt giveaway. And if you have a great idea for a shirt, type it in the comments as well. Even if you're not the winner of the week, if you come up with a great idea, I am going to send you a shirt. So if you got an idea for a clever real estate investing, personal finance type shirt, let us know and we will send one out to you. And here's what you're going to win. At the end of each live cast, we'll announce last week's winner for that shirt giveaway. So if you want a free shirt, please put that in the comments. I'm looking for you to ask great questions, leave positive comments, having high interaction, and commenting on the recorded video. So once we do these live, the recording stays up there, and you can go on YouTube and watch the recording, which can be very helpful. I've had a lot of people saying, hey, it's great to go back and re-listen to some of these things. It's great to go back and slow it down, press pause, write some notes, whatever the case is. So I encourage you to do that. We'll choose one winner per week for the shirt of the week. So, and I should go through what we're giving away this week. We have a box from last week that we're going to be giving out. This box has a few extra things in it. This has a I made it through a rehab, do hard money shirt. So that's going. We've got a face mask that's going out. We also have a couple of things, a hand scrunchie and a water bottle and a few things. So this winner, we've already decided. The winner of this is actually already decided and is in the slide. So for next week, what we've got the same thing. We've got a DHM mask, little awesome mask here, and we also have another I made it through a rehab shirt. And if you are the winner, tell us your size. We're going to try to do a better job of getting sizes out there. We'll do the best we can to get you those sizes. So, man, we got a lot of people jumping in here, so I appreciate it. Harshun, or Harshan, appreciate you being with us. I'm glad we got the audio working there. Maurice Smith, good evening. Thanks for being with us, Maurice. Really appreciate it. Gerard from Illinois and Tennessee. It looks like we got both here in the house. Maurice from Chicago, love it. Joe from Pennsylvania. Gerard, I got my box of cool stuff. The shirt is great. Take a picture of you wearing it and post it on Facebook or something for us. I'd love to see that. Let's see here. Dawa, I hope I'm saying that right, from Cleveland. Appreciate you being with us. Paper, planes, and passports. I love it. From Atlanta, Georgia. Love hearing from you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Let's see. Will Smith III. I'm sure this is the Will Smith that is a Hollywood movie star. I appreciate you being with us, Will. Let's see here. Joseph Ellis, great. Thanks for being with us. So a lot of great people. Thanks for being with us. If you enjoy these live casts and you want to see them continue, I need your help, okay? Right now, what we're looking for, we're currently at 4,542 subscribers, and my goal by the end of January is 4,640 subscribers. So right now, I've got 98 new subscribers that I'm looking to get. And I'd like you to be one of them. So right now, if you're listening to me right now, whether it's in the live version or the recorded version, if you're not currently a subscriber on our YouTube channel, please go to YouTube now and click on the subscribe button. It would mean a lot to us. That's what we're looking to do. Every single day, I upload a new daily video. These are fantastic videos. They're 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 7 minutes. Just depends on the subject matter where we talk about something. And if you have a question you would like me to do on a question of the day, all you've got to do is watch one of these little 5-minute videos and type in the comments, Ryan, please do this as a question of the day, and I will make this one of the questions of the day. And we've done several of those and want to do more. So please, if you have questions you want me to answer, put it in that question of the day. Now, as we're doing the live cast today, you're welcome to ask any questions you have as well. Put it in the comments, and I'll get those answered real time, like I'm doing right now, like our Will Smith from Hampton Roads, Virginia. So please, please, please hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, click that bell notification. The great thing about the bell notification is if you forgot to jump on when we're going live, it'll send you a message that we're going live to your phone through the YouTube app, so you'll know. Our Do Hard Money is our YouTube channel, so leave a comment on the recorded video, and the best compliment you can give me is telling somebody else about this, because we put a lot into making this happen, and we want you to get what you need out of it. I want to help you get to that next step, to that next level, irregardless of what that is. That next level is going to be different for every person. The next step that you're going to need to take is going to be different for you than somebody else. Comparison is the thief of joy. We don't need to compare ourselves with somebody else that may be a few steps ahead or a few steps behind. We want to work on our journey, getting to the next step as to where we want to be. We put a plan together. We work the plan. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be celebrations, and we're going to take both of those along the way. Now, as you know, the last couple of weeks, the videos weren't completely live. I had recorded them a couple days early, spending some time with a family. So there's a couple of questions that were left that I want to answer. Ken Rigme asked, what if a person has 2 mortgages out on a property, but he or she is in default on one loan? How does that foreclosure work like that? Ken, great question. So what we've got is this situation is we have a first mortgage and a second mortgage, right? So there's a loan that's in first position or primary position, and there's a loan in second position. So let's say there's a $100,000 loan and a $50,000 loan, and the $100,000 loan is in first position and the $50,000 loan is in second position. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. It depends on which loan is actually in default. So if you default on the $100,000 loan, the first position loan, what happens is that loan then goes through foreclosure. And at foreclosure, they actually wipe out the $50,000 loan, so the $50,000 loan doesn't get anything, and they own the property or sell the property. If they get all the money they're supposed to, any excess would then go to the second lender if it's above what is owed with fees, with attorney's costs, with interest, with all that type of stuff. Now, the second lender could pay off the first lender in full, and then they own the property. They're preserving their investment by doing that. So that's what would happen. Now, if the second lender is the one that you are not paying or is in default, then the second lender would start a foreclosure. They would have to pay off the first lender in order for them to make a foreclosure actually happen. So the whole idea here is if you're in second position, if the loan's in second position, they are subject to the first and can get foreclosed out, or they have to pay off the first loan with fees and interest in order for their position to remain, to have equity, to have to protect their position on the property. Ken, I don't know if you're with us today, but if you are, ask some more questions on this. I hope this is helpful. If anybody else has some questions, you're welcome to ask on this same subject matter as well. Okay, so what do we got here? How's everything going? Gary is 100% LTV. Gary, what exactly are you wanting to know on that? 100% loan to value. I don't see any other comments on that, but I'd love to answer any question you have. So please hit me up again with that. Joseph says, thank you, Ryan. Glad to be here. Glad you're here. Absolutely. Okay, so another question. Roche Sims. Is Roche with us? I've really been on a lot of them. So when it comes to looking for bankruptcy deals, what about bankruptcies with liens? So the difficulty with bankruptcy with liens is you have to pay off that lien in order to do something. So let's say a property's well, let me rephrase. If there's a loan, that is a lien. Okay, so there's loans, they're liens, and then there's involuntary liens, which means you have other things like HOA, or you have child support, or there's other things that are on there. So if a property's in bankruptcy, it's typically not free and clear properties that are in bankruptcy. You're welcome to go after free and clear properties that are in bankruptcy, but most of the time, if you own your house free and clear, you're probably not going to be in bankruptcy. So there's not a lot of those, but everything's going to typically have a loan. What I think you're asking me is, what if it has additional involuntary liens? So let's say somebody owes $100,000 on their property and they're in bankruptcy. That $100,000 is going to have to get paid off in order for you to purchase the property. But let's say they also have an involuntary lien. So let's say that involuntary lien is for child support for $10,000. Now you've got $100,000 plus the $10,000 in child support, so it's $110,000, and that's how much you're going to have to make sure you can purchase that property for, or more. So basically, we just say that's what's going to have to get paid off in order for you to make a deal happen. So that's basically what we're dealing with liens. Now, I'm not worried if, as long as there's enough equity, if it's 110 and I know the property's worth 300, I should be going after marketing to those properties, knocking on doors, sending postcards, doing skip trace, whatever the case is. Those are the types of things that I should be doing. So, Roche, I hope that answers your question. If anybody else that's with us live or in the recording wants to ask additional questions on it, please post them in the comments or post them in the chat, and I would be more than happy to answer them. Okay, let's jump into our real estate market update. Each week we do a little bit of a market update on the things that are happening so we can stay up on the real estate market and what is going on to help us as real estate investors. But I got to start with a drink. Okay, real estate market update. Home prices are rising faster in the middle of the U.S. as COVID drives people away from the coast. I found this quite interesting, seeing that the smaller metropolitan markets like Indianapolis, Kansas City, Boise, Austin, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Memphis, Pittsburgh are seeing some of the strongest price gains in the nation. It doesn't mean the stuff on the coastlines isn't going up in value. I think a lot of stuff's going up in value everywhere. But the difference basically is that some of those in the mid markets are actually growing stronger and some people are moving away from the coastlines. I find that interesting as a real estate investor, especially looking to invest out of state. Fox News says real estate market momentum will continue into 2021, experts say. Yoon, who is the real estate one of the real estate gurus. He's one of the forecasters and one of the economists for the Board of Realtors, the National Board of Realtors, is expecting Federal Reserves will continue to low interest rates as officials have said they want to do so for several years. Further, he said COVID-19 vaccinations will boost job creation and in turn benefit the housing sector. So we're expecting things to continue. I thought that was interesting. Do I have any Texans in the house today? If you're a Texan, I know you're loud and proud, so put it in the comments here. I'm actually going to show an example in Texas here in a minute that I think you'll be interested. But Dallas-Fort Worth housing market has red-hot momentum going into 2021. One of the things I didn't realize is lots of people are moving to Texas from California. There's a lot of out-of-state buyers that are moving from California. They're tired of what's happening with the way COVID's being dealt with in California, with all the intensive lockdowns that they're saying, I'm out of here. I am moving to Texas, which I thought was really interesting as well. Again, if you're from Texas or investing in Texas, put it in the chat. President-elect Biden plans for first-time home buyers. I thought this was really interesting. This has the potential to help home buyers overcome a major obstacle to home ownership, the daunting down payment. But with historical low inventory of homes, not a lot on the market right now, the move could also hurt by exacerbating demand and rising prices. So Biden's first down payment tax credit, if implemented, would create a permanent refundable tax credit for first-time home buyers. First-time buyers are defined by federal government as one who has not had a home ownership resident within the past 3 years, previous 3 years, I should say. So the whole idea here is he's saying, hey, we won't make you come up with you'll put a down payment down, but we'll give you a tax credit for that. So basically you won't pay in taxes. What you would have paid in taxes, you'll now put towards your home. So you'll get a write-off or a tax credit, which is better than a write-off for that. There's controversy around this because home prices haven't ever been higher. So this is only going to drive that. So I hope Biden keeps this in his pocket and uses it later if we end up seeing some correction on the housing market or some changes in the housing market. Because right now I'm in the camp of saying this is only going to drive prices higher, which I don't think is what's intended to be done here. So I think that's pretty interesting. What are your thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on what this would happen with the tax credit? I also think it's interesting is how they define a first-time home buyer not having purchased a property in the prior 3 years. I think it's an interesting definition as well. President-elect Biden also planned for first-time home buyers. Some industry experts, National Association of Home Builders, are concerned that the tax credit could cause demand to rise even higher, but without additional supply, this could send prices even higher. It's what we were just talking about here. We anticipate that this will push prices higher. Pretty basic economics, demand side increase without concurrent increase in supply one would expect prices to rise. So while the tax credit will open the doors so homeowners to do some may not be able to purchase, it won't open it very wide is the big concern. Buffini makes bold predictions about the upcoming year's market. Yoon predictions that home sales could be 20% higher in the third and fourth quarter compared to the prior year. That would be huge if home sales were 20 to 30% higher. Now remember, our overall volume of homes sold in 2020 was a lot lower, but our prices went up. It was a supply and demand. We didn't have enough to sell for what people wanted. So they're saying, hey, I think we're going to see more homes sell, and it sounds like they'll be at some of those higher prices. Additionally, he sees home sales prices more than 5%, possibly 10% in 2021. Remember, last year was about 12%. So he's saying, hey, 5 to 10%, we'll see prices continue to go up. We're not going to see them as much as we saw them in 2020, but we are going to see more transactions occurring, and possibly leads to faster job growth, still favorable mortgage rates, which he's predicting mortgage rates will stay somewhere around the 3%. Okay, Gerard, they plan to balance demand with higher Fed interest rate, killing the ability for affordable loans. I don't know if that's the case. I mean, according to Yoon, he's thinking interest rates will remain at 3%. I reported on it my predictions for 2021. I did that 3 weeks ago. You can check it out on YouTube. I think the National Association of Realtors was planning on being 3.5%. So I'm not overly concerned about interest rates. But again, when I started investing in real estate, interest rates were at 8%. I was buying rental properties at 8.5%, and cash flowing them. So there's definitely ways to make things happen at 3.5%. It makes it a heck of a lot easier. Yahoo Finance. Fewer Americans are optimistic about the housing market. I find this is interesting because it's a little bit contradictory to what the forecasts are showing. The HBSI measuring the housing optimism appears to have peaked for now as consumers continue to consider how the COVID-19 impacts their ability to buy or sell a home. This is interesting. Hang with me on this. Only 57% of respondents said it was a good time to buy a home, down from 60% last month and 61% in November of 2019. So, we're talking 3 or 4%. Meanwhile, 35% said it was a bad time to buy a home, unchanged from October, but down from an abrupt hike of 46% beginning the pandemic. So when the pandemic started, March, April, hey, 46% said this is not a great time to buy a house. Now only 35% are saying this isn't a great time to buy a house. But those are saying that it is a good time. The opposite of that, 57% said it is. Last month it was 60. Last year it was 61. So I don't think it's huge, but it's a little bit something we need to take into consideration. I don't think it changes any of the predictions that we're talking about for this next year for 2021. The Biden bump, how real estate may benefit from Biden presidency and how it may not. According to ABS News, among other things, Biden is likely to remove the SALT cap, limitations on itemized deductions for home mortgage interest and state local taxes enacted during President Donald Trump. This is great for real estate investors. Politics aside, it's great for real estate investors. Property taxes tend to be higher in suburban areas. Appealing to the SALT cap would benefit those who already choose to relocate from cities during the pandemic. It's going to give us some more write-offs. That could be a great thing. Realtor.com's November data. I don't have December's data yet. It's still getting compiled. National inventory declined by 39.2%. So there's 39.2% of homes that were available to actually be sold, which is why when we say we're looking at a 20% increase in units sold in 2021, this isn't a surprising statistic to me. The November national median listing price was $348, up 12.7% compared to last year, but down from $350 from the first time since August. Larger metro areas saw an average price gain of 8.8% compared to last year. So median listing price is up 13%, 12.7 rounded up 13. Days on market, 57.5. That is 18% less than it was a year ago. And active listings, 76,000 and some change. That is 39% less active listings than there was a year ago. This is interesting. Okay, housing report. A severe lack of homes for sale continued despite improvement in newly listed homes. Newly listed homes were 7.7% compared to last year, but this is a substantial improvement from September when new listings were down 13.8%. Okay, guys, what's happening in your area? What are you seeing? I'd love to get some updates on your thoughts. What's happening in real estate in your area? And as you're rolling those things in, we're going to give you a quick COVID-19 update of a few things we're seeing at COVID and how that can affect us as real estate investors. All right. COVID update. We're still seeing this upward trend. This is today. This is the predictions. We're going to see, it looks like come, I don't know, mid to end January, we're starting on the downtrend of all this. Probably the middle of January, we start seeing us on the downtrend of what the predictions are showing. So that's kind of interesting. Everything on this side of the graph is historical, and anything above today is predictions. MJ Bradley from Texas wanted to show you what we're seeing in Texas. 28,000 hospital beds available, 14,000 in use. And you can see here, same kind of thing with the nation. Come mid-January, it looks like the prediction is you'll be on the downhill of that. Super excited about that. Rashay Sims from Georgia, 8,000 available beds, 5,000 in use. Looks like kind of the same thing. By mid-January, we start to see that downtrend is what we're looking at. For that's the predictions, obviously. Let's say here, Girard, Illinois has high property taxes, but the market is strong. Great deals available in every city. Yeah, I agree. I'm seeing the same thing. Yeah, Illinois taxes drive me crazy. I think they're more than high. I think they're like criminally high. It's crazy. They're probably the most expensive of any of the states I do investing in. It's crazy. Virus today, vaccination efforts to end COVID-19 accelerate. Super excited. We've got the 2 vaccines that are out there, the Moderna and the Pfizer, which is super exciting. ICU nurses in New York among the first people in the U.S. to get authorized coronavirus vaccinations. One of our subscribers is actually a first responder that was in New York and got a vaccination. I can't remember his name though. If you're on today, make yourself known. Love to support you in that. No significant safety concerns have been reported, but nothing including paracetamol is 100% safe. Short-lived fatigue, headaches, pain, those are the things that they're seeing with the vaccination. Dr. Fawcett says U.S. could return to normal by mid-fall if most people get COVID vaccine. That's really exciting. I can't wait to start to not wear my mask anymore. I'm wearing it. Don't get me wrong. We're wearing them. We've got our masks, our Do Hard Money masks that we're wearing. We're taking all those precautions, which we should be, but excited for us not to have to do that when it's safe. COVID-19, this is interesting. China's economy surges ahead. Now, their first case was November 17th, so they're a little over a year with this, a year and a few months, but we're getting closer to normal life. Risk of COVID-19 exposure on planes virtually non-existent when masks are worn, according to the study. I think that's really interesting. Okay, who is ready for a property finding tip? This is how to find deals right now. If you're interested in this, put it in the chat. If you have some questions, let me know. Homes are selling faster in Fulton County, Georgia, but there are many new homes being built. Yeah, I appreciate it. What's your name? Paper planes and passports. And what's the background on your name, on your paper plane passports? I'd be super interested. Let me grab a drink. We'll get into property finding tips. All right, guys. Property finding tip. Here's what I want to talk about is failed listings. Okay, this is a strategy you need to know about. Okay, failed listings. I think this is going to be very valuable in this next year as we talk about some of these homes that are going, the homes that have had payments help made for them. They're technically in default. If those continue to default, this is going to be a very viable strategy. So I'm ahead of the curve on this. Regardless, it's something you need to know, and I think it's something you'll be able to put into use. Erica, awesome. Glad you're with us. I think this is, let's see here. This works well in a buyer's market, not as well in a seller's market, which is where we're in right now. However, if a bunch of those do those loans where they haven't been making those payments and they've gotten support from the government on those, from the banks. This is going to be really interesting. Right now we have seller's market. This could change. It will vary area by area. But let's talk about this. Maurice is in. Yes, let's hear it. What is a failed listing? So a property is listed with an agent. They put it on the multiple listing service. They have a contract term with the agent, and that term is expired. So maybe they say, hey, I'll list your home for 6 months, a year, 8 months, 9 months. That term has passed, okay? So the seller at one point wanted to sell their home, okay? They wanted to sell their home. So why does a property expire? The term is over. The agent forgets to extend it. The seller is unhappy with the agent and says, let's don't do this. The seller decided they no longer want to sell their home. Those are some of the things that could do that. So at any time a home does not sell, go under contract, or active again, it will show up as a failed listing. Joseph says, I don't have the exact numbers, but I would say listings are certainly on the market for less days than the national average, selling quickly. Joseph, remind me what market you're in, Joseph. That's great feedback. So that's the idea. If any of these things happen, then it's going to show up as a failed listing. So this is an opportunity for investors. Let's say that they've had the home on the market for 6 months. They get frustrated. They just want the property sold. They're sick of their agent. They don't think their agent's doing anything. They're sick of showing the property. We've had a bunch of people coming through the property. They're saying, hey, but knowing a property is a failed listing just is not enough. You've got to combine that with a few other things. So when I look at if somebody has a failed listing but it has no equity in their home, it does me no good. It's not going to be an opportunity where I can actually help them. I like to look at single-family homes, condos, or townhomes, not currently on the market. So if they failed as a listing and relisted, that doesn't help us. And I want to make sure they failed and they're not currently listing. They're less than $500,000 with 30% more of equity. So how do I actually do this? So who was from Houston or who was from Texas? Somebody was from Texas. I can't remember who it was. But let's just come here. Let's just come and let's just do Houston, Texas, okay? Boom, here we go. Okay, so you can come in. This is Investor's Edge. This is one of our softwares. We have several of them. But if you look in Houston, Texas, right now, there is 10,436 properties there are currently. And I want to load this up, but let me show you my filters on this. These are residential, single family, not on the market, listing has failed, $500,000 or less, and 30% more in estimated equity. So it's taken a minute to load, especially since we've got so much going on with this live feed. So there's 10,436 of those. You could break those down into lists, and you could actually do some marketing for those. So these are buckets, predefined buckets that we actually do to help people out to make it easier to start doing some marketing. Let's just let this reload. Let's just come here to Texas again. And 10,000. Okay, those are unique properties. Let's just look at a smaller list here. So you would come here. It's going to take a minute for me to load, so I don't want it to spend a bunch of time. So you can click on all of these, and then you can add it to a list, and you can actually create a list based upon that. Now, you can come in here and look at individual properties. Let's see how long this takes to load. Okay, so here's an individual property. The public records 213, value 267. We think there's $137,000 of equity on there because we're looking at a loan amount of 170. 129 is what it's worth now because they got this loan back in 2016. So we think there's $137,000 worth of equity. It was on the market. It's taken off. You can send a postcard right to these guys. Actually, I can even show you. This is the owner. This is the address. That's the house address. So you can just send it right there. And one of the things that we've done to make it super easy in here is you start your campaigns. You just come here to postcards, click on the postcard. This is the pricing. Now this is printing, shipping, delivery. You don't have to deal with any of it. I like the 4.5 size. Just hit the next here. And then you can just choose. We've got all kinds of postcard templates you can choose from. So you don't need artwork. You can just come in here and type whatever you want. In these, you can type your name in it, your phone number, contact Ryan. It's got my email address right on there, and boom, you're off to the races. It's got my address on there. So you type in your phone numbers. You can edit, you can hit print and mail, and off to the races. You are ready to go. So that's what we're talking about here with this tool on finding these expired listings. Excuse me. Wow. Wasn't expecting that. Houston, Texas is what we looked at. Investor's Edge, create those buckets. Then you build the list. You check on them. You create add to list. You create the new list. You name that list, and the way you name things is really important. Your city code, your zip code, your state. Skip tracing. If you want to send a live broadcast, you can do that as well. Postcards, you can get those out. Okay, Joseph says, I don't have the exact number. Okay, yeah, we talked about that. Things are selling really quickly. If you got questions on this, please type it in the chat. Love to help you out. You'll have to spend between $1,500 and $15,000 per deal in marketing cost, but the profit should be $30,000 to $60,000 more than what you spent in the actual marketing costs. And this is where I think a lot of investors, especially new investors, forget about this. It's either time or money. You've got to spend the money, and that will save you time, or you've got to spend the time in order for you to get the amount of dollars that the money would have done for you. You're looking for exposure. You've got to get a lot of people out there to find somebody that's going to be interested in making a deal with you, and then you've got to know how to make the deal. All right, questions on expired listings. If you've got some, type them in the comments. Let's jump into this. 10 principles of personal finance that changed my life. Okay. Let's get into this, guys. 10 principles of personal finance that changed my life. Number one, what you're going to learn, what you're going to walk away with is ideas you can put into practice today. Mental shifts that can make the difference. The importance of time in investing. How the right strategy is the key. And, because it's the new year, I'm going to do an extra bonus. We're going to do 11 rather than just doing 10 today. So number one key to financial that has changed my life is delayed gratification. I think that a lot of families are doing a disservice to kids where they're making them grow up thinking that they'll have everything that their parents had that took decades to build. They're going to have a nice car and a nice house and a nice boat and a nice everything. I think that is a mistake. I was talking to a friend of mine, and they live in a really nice neighborhood, and they said that some of the kids in the neighborhood were spending $1,000 on Nike tennis shoes. And I'm like, this is not good. We're teaching these kids, hey, if you want it, you get it. $1,000 Nikes that you're going to walk on is no big deal. That's a problem. And that kind of goes to this delayed gratification, because the issue with that is that they don't see the work and the effort and the hurt that had to go in to get the money to make the $1,000. They just see the outcome. And so that's one of the things. So one of the biggest financial principles for me was delayed gratification. It's wonderful to have goals. It's wonderful to have ambitions, but you should only get them when you can actually pay for something. So we shouldn't be putting stuff on credit cards and doing that type of stuff. We should pay for that when you can really afford them. And I'm not talking about making minimum payments. That's one of the new trickeries that is used right now. When you go and you look at something, they typically sell you on payments, not sell you on what it costs. How much does it cost? Oh, it's $27 a month. Oh, great. I can afford that for the next 35 years, so knowing what you can really afford is a big deal. As far as delayed gratification, no matter what social economic status you may find yourself in, there's an unlimited amount of desires that you'll find. What I mean by this is no matter if you make $50,000 a year, $20,000 a year, or $1 million a year, there's always that next level. Even if you're, a multi-millionaire, it's like, oh yeah, I've got a bunch of money, but boy, I'd really like to have a private jet. Oh, you've got this plane. Well, I want this plane. Oh, I'd really like to have this nice boat. I'd like to have this. There's unlimited desires that are out there that you can find. No matter what price range, no matter what social economic status, there's always going to be more. Okay, Gerard, you're right with me. There is always someone with more money than you, no matter how much money you have. There's very few exceptions to this. So the ability to want something, being willing to work for it, and putting a plan together is essential. So don't think of terms in, Gerard just stole my line, I can't afford it. Instead, ask what investment will pay for that. You're absolutely right. Don't think of terms, I can't afford it. Think in terms of how can I afford it? Okay, this is my first cabin. My wife really wanted a cabin in the woods. We looked at something and said, how can we actually afford this? We said, hey, if we buy a fixer-upper and we do the work on it, that's going to keep our costs very low. We also said if we purchase another rental property, that new property could pay for the majority of the expenses on the cabin. If we buy a fixer-upper and put the money into this, the majority of the costs can happen, which is how I made my first cabin purchase. We made a plan. We made it happen, which is exactly what happened. By the way, I bought that cabin from the IRS. They took it back on an IRS auction, which doesn't happen very many times. I think it's happened a half a dozen or a dozen times that I'm aware of in the last 20 years. Item number 2 is intentional spending. This is one that many people struggle to master and stops financial progress. This is the killer of dreams more than anything, is this idea of intentional spending. Be careful what you spend your money on. Don't get caught up in keeping up with the Joneses. Oh, my neighbor has the $1,000 Nikes. I got to have them as well. Determine what's really important to you, and the answer isn't everything. What's really important to you and what's not important to you. It may be a nice house or a nice car, nice clothes, or eating out or vacation, but get very specific of what it is. In the intentional spending, for me, it's creating experiences with my family. Okay, that is more important to me than nice cars, nice clothes, a crazy expensive house. This is my intention. So I spend money on experiences and I cut back on other areas. I could live in a more expensive house. I'm not going to do that. I could drive a more expensive car. I don't want to do that. I could buy nicer clothes. I don't want to do that. I want to have experiences. I will spend money on experiences. I don't want to spend money on these other things. That's the type of thing. And that's not the case for everybody. Your thing may be a nice car or nice clothes or whatever. It just shouldn't be all of those. So decide which thing really gives you the most amount of joy and spend on those, and then cut back on everything else. Gerard says, I have 2 boys aged 21 and 18. They have a LLC with me for this reason. $1,000 Nikes. Okay, let's earn them. Works great. Yeah, I mean, I get the perspective on that. Like, hey, let's go make it happen on that. I still wouldn't advise my boys to go spend $1,000 on Nikes. I'd be like, hey, man, take that $1,000. Let's make an investment. It'll pay off dividends. Use that dividends to buy some other things, which I'm going to talk about here in just a minute. Principle number 3 that changed my life, personal finance number 3, live on much less than you make. What you earn is much less important than what you can spend. Living on less than you make is a major key to financial success. Okay? The less you live on, the more you can grow your wealth. The same excitement that people get from shopping, the same addiction, the same excitement, the same endorphins from spending money. Once you catch the vision of saving and investing, you can have those same endorphins and excitements just like going and spending money. And a lot of people, once they catch the vision of that, and they're like, oh, I love to go shopping. Why do you love to go shopping? Oh, because I just feel great and, these things. Well, the reason why you feel shopping is it's a drug. And that drug, it puts some endorphins into your mind, and you're saying, I feel amazing. Well, that same amazing feeling you can get from saving and investing if you make some of those changes and start catching the vision of it. I've always tried to live 2 steps below my means, okay? What I mean by that is if I can live in the current house I'm in, I'm not going to live in it. I'm going to live 2 steps below my means. If I can have a house that's more double the house that I'm currently in, I'm not going to do that. I want to be 2 steps before. I could have afforded my new house 5 years or more before I bought it. My old house would fit inside the garage of my new house, and I could have afforded my new house long before I bought it. But I decided not to because I always want to be 2 steps below my means. That's super, super important. Item number 4, reserve. Have a rainy day reserve. It's not if things will go wrong, it's when things will go wrong. So important, guys. It's not if, it is when, because things will go wrong. Something is going to happen. There is going to be a car breakdown. There may be a job loss. You start with a small $1,000 in reserve, and what I recommend is grow that, and you can continue to grow that. Let's talk about this. Build up a month's worth of savings for reserve. Then you may want to build that up to 3 months. Then you really at that point can get more aggressive with investing, or you may want to go to build to 6 months. Set aside some money each month for the reserve. It can be very hard to get out of the high interest consumer debt trap. If you don't have this and you got to go borrow money at really expensive rates and you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, it can be really hard to get out of. So I highly, highly recommend this. Have a reserve for a rainy day. Set aside some money until you have 1,000. Don't use this money for other things no matter what. You can't use this money for anything. This is your security blanket. This is your I want to sleep well at night money. This is your I want to take care of my family if something happened money. This is sacred money that should not be touched. Okay, number 5, pay yourself first. You need to be paid before your bills. Okay, let me tell you what this means. That money needs to go to invest. The very first person that gets paid should be you. And that doesn't mean you're going to go to the store and go shopping. That means that money is going to be taken and go into investing. This should be 10% of your income or more. Okay, if you can't afford 10%, look at readjusting your spending and saying, what do I really want to spend money on, and where are the things I can cut back? Where am I trying to keep up with the Joneses versus what do I really enjoy? Figure those things out, and then you can start with 1% of your income and work on saving 1% of your income and investing that, and then change that to say 2% of your income as you're working on readjusting some of your other things. Really, it's less about what you make. It's more about how you spend it, how you invest it. Also, you can take advantage of your 401k or your IRA. This is especially good if you have an employee that will do a match. For example, my company will match dollar for dollar up to 3%, and this is a 100% return on investment. And if I put in 5%, our company matches 4% if they put in 5%. So automatically, I have doubled my money when I do this. Now, for some companies, there's a vesting period, which is fine. But that's one of the ways you can make it happen. Number 6, you can't make any more land. There's only so much land. That's just where there is to it. Over time, real estate values always go up over the long term. My dad's accountant, who's really got him started in real estate, said they don't make any more land. They can't make any more land. And based upon that, this encouraged him to buy more and more real estate. This, in turn, led me to buy real estate. Guys, stuff I was buying 20 years ago for $100,000 is now worth $350,000. And we've had some corrections in there. We had 2008 correction. So if you look at that and you look over the 20 years, a 300% increase in values, that's the type of stuff we're talking about. They don't make any more land. They can't make any more land. Number 7 tip is building cash flow. Cash flow is money that hits your account every single month. And I want to change your definition of wealth a little here. Regardless if you go to work or not, that cash flow keeps coming in. This money you get paid from investments. This is a new definition of wealth. Wealth is determined by time. How long you can last without needing to have a paycheck is how wealthy you are. How long can you go on what you have money coming in where you don't have to go to work? That's the definition of wealth. This has to do with intentional spending, because the more you spend, the more it's going to take for that amount of money to be. How much money you have that comes in each and every month goes back to our cash flow. All of these things are things you need to be considering this new definition of wealth. How long can you go? Wealth is measured by time. How long can you go without having to work? That's the real definition of wealth. Gerard says, all great financial tips. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Okay, number 8. This is the power of leverage. Leverage is a double-edged sword. It can hurt you and it can help you. It will compound your investments or it will tear you apart. The secret is to use leverage in a very safe manner. You could also use leverage to double dip. Let me explain. I have a rental property. I've paid that rental property off. I get rent each month. I get a line of credit, which a line of credit's great because I only pay interest when I have that money out, and I can actually borrow the money against the line to make the payments, right? Then I lend that money out. So now I get both my rental income and I get paid for that money I lent out. So I'm double dipping on the same asset. That same property is providing me the rent and it's providing me with the ability to give a loan out. That is awesome when it comes to ways to magnify your wealth. Okay, number 9, let somebody else pay for it. This is similar to my cabin example. Rather than using your earned income, which is your most expensive income, you've got to pay taxes on it and everything else. You take your earned income and you make an investment. And then with that investment, then you can buy something that you want. So in essence, somebody else is paying for it. Now there is an additional steps, but the step is turning a liability into an asset. So let's say that I want let's say I want to buy a boat. Rather than buying a boat, which is going to depreciate, which is going to go down over time, which is going to become worthless eventually, I can take that same amount of money, I can invest that money, I can get payments on that, and then the income I get from that can then pay for that boat for me. That's the whole concept of here is rather than buying it a liability, you buy an asset first before you buy that doodad, before you buy that liability. Okay, number 10. This is the 8th wonder of the world. Any idea what it is? Well, according to Albert Einstein, the 8th wonder of the world is compound interest. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. So compound interest, how does this apply? It's the money you invest that builds on top of itself. So when you earn, what you earn is then reinvested. The higher the return, the faster the compounding. It's like a snowball that goes down the hill. You got a little bit of snow, it rolls, it gets a little more. It takes what it had, it adds to it. It takes what it had, it adds to it. It goes down, down, down. So by the time it goes to the bottom of the hill, you've got a huge snowball. That's the simple way of talking about compound interest. You're always reinvesting the earnings. These earnings then grow. Okay, guys, you've been waiting for this. Number 11, which is my extra one bonus. Make your house an investment. Renting versus buying. You should be buying a property. Properties go up in value over the long term. You get tax deductions when you own a property. Once it's paid for, you don't have to pay for it again. If you're renting a property, you will always have to pay rent. That is tip number 11. As we are dealing with this, here we go. Rent is throwing your money away. So make your house an investment is tip number 11. These are the 10 principles of personal finance that changed my life. Strike that. 11 principles that changed my life. Okay, let's run through these again, guys. Delayed gratification is number 1. Intentional spending and controlling expenses is number 2. Live on much less than you make is number 3. Number 4, have a reserve account for a rainy day. Number 5, pay yourself first. This gets invested. Number 6, you can't make any more land. Number 7, build cash flow, which is the whole new definition of how long can you live without any additional income. Number 8 is the power of leverage, using that to help you rather than hurt you. Number 9 is let someone else pay for it. Don't pay for that doodad. Don't pay for that item. Let somebody else pay for it for you. Buy an asset first and then buy the liability second. Number 10, compound interest, multiply and invest. And number 11, our bonus, make your house an investment. Buy, don't rent. Okay, we got a couple things. Rule of 72, great stuff, Ryan. Yeah, I'm thank you, bet, Joseph. Gerard, do you think it's better to own or buy in an LLC and rent to your own business? I'm not sure exactly what you mean there. Is it better to own or buy in an LLC? Like for your personal house or for a rental property? The way I do it, if it's a rental property, I put the rental property in an LLC. is what I recommend with any type of rental properties. If I'm doing a fix and flip or a wholesale, I put that in an LLC as well, so I separate that from a liability standpoint. As far as my personal house, I haven't gone to the extent I hold my personal house in a trust. So I hope that helps. If not, hit me up. We can answer. Oh, personal home, yeah, I like to hold that in trust. I hope that helps. If you like some of the things you heard today, our complete system that takes brand new investors through flipping their first home, it's called our Find, Fund, Flip system. We have dozens of hours of training. We have deal finding software. We have access to our 100% financing. Just go to dohardmoney.com/get started. Again, dohardmoney.com/get started. John, if you'll get that posted in the chat, that would be fantastic. Go ahead and click on that. If you're not currently a member, you're going to want to check it out. Okay, our free book. This is our finance book. Check it out. dohardmoney.com/money-ebook. You can get a copy of our finance book. We'll put that in the chat as well, so you can click on that again. It's dohardmoney.com/money-ebook, so you can check those out as well. If you enjoyed this, please give me the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, do the bell notifications. Please leave a comment on the recorded video and tell somebody else about it. It's a huge help to us. Again, check out that free ebook, dohardmoney.com/money-ebook. We just posted the Get Started. If you're interested in our Find, Fund, Flip system, you can check that out. And if you're interested in that ebook, we'll be posting that here in just a minute, so you can click on those as well. Love for you to leave a comment if you like what you've heard today. Love to know what you would like to hear for future topics. There's a few there on the screen right now. If you would type in the comments what you would like to see for future live cast, please type it in now. We'll build trainings around the things and the feedback that we get from you. It could be any of these things on the screen, or it could be other things that you may be interested in. If you like what you heard today, please share the live cast link on YouTube with friends or several friends, and check out my podcast. It's called Income Hacker. Income Hacker is the podcast. You can check that out, and make sure you don't forget to get a copy of that free book. We've got that in the link right now. You can click on that and get a copy of the free book. Okay, our winner from last week. If you want to be the winner, who was our winner that was on? So they got to. Let me find. We got a bunch of stuff going on here. Let's see. Who was our winner that said you got the box? Maurice. No. Oh, yeah. Gerard. I got my box of cool stuff. The shirt is great. Okay, yeah. If you want to be like Gerard, please make some comments. Put some things in the chat. Put some things on a recorded video. We'll be giving a winner for next week. But today's winner is going to be... excuse me, Adam Armstrong. Adam Armstrong, congratulations. You're our winner of the week. What I need to have you do is email support@dohardmoney.com. Type in shirt winner as the subject line. Put in your screen name, your mailing address, your cell phone number, and your shirt size. This shirt size is really important, and your phone number is really important. We want to make sure the package makes it there. We will get you a free shirt sent out to you as our winner of the week. Okay, my client spoke very high of Do Hard Money and said I should check it out. Erica, I am so excited. I hope you have been pleased as to what we're doing here. That's fantastic. Gerard, how to buy, source multi-home purchases would be a good topic. That's a great one. It's something that I do, but I don't do directly. So my way of doing it is quite a bit different than maybe what you're looking for, but it's something we should definitely put on. Guys, if you've enjoyed today, please let me know. We're going to send out our winner for Adam. I appreciate you being with us. Oh, Erica, highly fantastic. Thank you. Please join us again. We're here next week. For all those participated, find out if you won the shirt next week, next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be here. Also, don't forget to get a copy of the free finance book at dohardmoney.com money-ebook, so you can check that out. And we'll be here same time, same place next week. Everybody, make it a great day. Have a very profitable one, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks for being with me.